Okay, thank you. The conference call meeting is now beginning and I am asking staff to start the recording. So I am now calling meeting of Committee of Investment for Thursday, September 16th, 2021 to order. And we will follow the ground rules as laid out. As a teleconference, we need to ensure that everyone uses either handsets, earbuds, or mute buttons on their speaker phones, as otherwise background noise becomes distracting and makes the meetings difficult. To maintain timelines around subsequent meetings, everyone needs to have dialed into the meetings on time. I will announce each agenda item and introduce staff to present the recommendation. And I call for questions on a matter. If you have a question or a comment, please indicate by stating your name. We'll record the request for speakers and we'll ask for anyone else who may have been missed once the list is exhausted. Those presenting as delegations will have 10 minutes to speak to the application at hand, not past applications or associated applications. Staff will have a timer for 10 minutes and will give the delegate Can you still hear me?
We can now, yes.
Okay, it looks like out of the blue, it just muted me. I'm not sure why. If the delegation presentations are not focused on the application at hand, I will ask the delegations to focus on their presentations. If the committee members would like to propose an amendment to a motion moved and seconded or deferred, please indicate during the question period and after the motion is on the table. When asked to vote on a motion, please indicate by yes if you are in favor of the motion on the floor, or no if you are not in favor of the motion on the floor. This will also help to check that we have maintained quorum throughout the meeting. I will now introduce Kayla Delay, Senior Planner, to provide the following comments.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 13th Committee of Adjustment meeting during the COVID-19 state of emergency pandemic. The purpose of this Committee of Adjustment meeting is to give consideration to minor variance and severance applications. Due to the constraints of the pandemic, rather than a traditional meeting in the council chambers, this virtual meeting will act as a statutory meeting for the Committee of Adjustment planning applications. Staff have posted the notice signs on September 1st, meeting the Act requirements, and materials were posted on our website last week, along with a report which provides staff's professional planning opinion on the merits of each application. If the committee deems it appropriate, they will render a decision tonight, and decisions of the Committee on Planning Act matters can be appealed to the local planning appeals tribunal once notice of the decision has been rendered. The planner will provide a quick overview of the application, including any public input, and provide their recommendation. The committee will have an opportunity to ask the planner questions before voting on a decision. On the line, we have the appropriate staff this evening. Myself, we have Dan Meisner, Amanda Wazinski, and Shannon LaBelle to assist the committee. And I'll turn it back over to MJ.
Thank you, Kayla. I will now call each member in order. Please indicate by stating present if you are in attendance. Mary Jane Brown, present. Harry Emmett.
Present.
Bob Hamilton.
Present.
Daniel Zuloff.
Present.
Rebecca Smith.
Present.
Steve Schmidt. Steve Schmidt, are you? I will now move on to John Vamus. Okay. John Vamus.
Present.
Thank you. Thank you. I will now introduce item 2, approval of the agenda, and turn it over to member Variance for the resolution.
Moved by myself and seconded by member Zuloff that the agenda for the County of Brant Committee of Adjustment meeting, September 16, 2021, be approved.
Are there any members who have any items they wish to add to the agenda? It appears there are none. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Variance,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Schmidt, I would assume he's not present. Brown, yes. It appears the motion has carried, and we will now move on to the next item on our agenda, which is item 3, declaration of pecuniary interest. I will now note that all members previously indicated there were none who had any pecuniary or otherwise conflicts. With that, I will now move to item 4, adoption of the minutes from previous meeting, and I will turn it over to member Schmidt.
Moved by
Since
myself
we
and
seem-
second.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me? Okay,
Yes,
moved
I
by
can hear you
myself.
now.
I'm sorry, am I coming through?
I didn't catch the last part of your statement. I'm not sure
Okay,
if the
move-
others did.
Moved by myself and seconded by member Emmett that the minutes from the County of Brant Committee of Adjustment meeting of July 15th, 2021 be approved.
Thank you. If there are any issues with the minutes from the previous meeting, please let me know. It appears there are none. Is everyone still hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. Please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Variance,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Schmidt,
Yes.
thank you, Brown, yes. The motion has carried and has been adopted. The minutes from the previous meeting have been adopted. We will now move to item 6 on the agenda, 6.1, staff report CA 2151 for application A1521SL from Austin Koning, owners of lands described as Part 1, 2R8157, 124 Langford Church, former Township of Brantford. And I will now ask Shannon LaBelle to present her presentation.
Thank you. Through the chair, good evening, Committee of Adjustment and members of the public. This is a minor variance for lands located at 124 Langford Church Road within the former Township of Brantford. The minor variance is to request an increase in maximum allowable lot coverage for an accessory structure. The applicant is seeking a maximum lot coverage of 185 square meters, whereas a maximum lot coverage of 140 square meters or 15% of the total lot area is required. This would facilitate the construction of an accessory structure for storage purposes. The subject lands are located on the north side of Langford Church Road. To the north of the subject property, there are natural heritage features such as a stream and woodlot and agricultural lands. To the west and east of the subject property, there is low density single detached residential dwellings and agricultural lands. and to the south, there are agricultural lands. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The subject lands are designated as rural residential and natural heritage within the County of Brant official plan. The minor variance is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan for the following reasons. The rural residential designation contemplates for development if they have access to adequate services for the use proposed, if the development is sympathetic to its surroundings, and if the development is accessory to a permitted use within the specified designation. The natural heritage designation contemplates for development if it can be demonstrated that there will be no negative impacts on the natural heritage feature in accordance with Table 2.2. The subject lands are zoned as rural residential and natural heritage within the County of Brant zoning bylaw. The application is seeking relief from Section 4.41 in order to permit an increase in the maximum allowable lot coverage, Section 4, Table 4.41, in order to permit an increase in the maximum allowable lot coverage for an accessory structure. The proposal is considered to be in keeping with the intent of the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116, as all other development criteria has been met. No public comments were received for this application. Staff are supportive of the minor variance application as it is considered inconsistent with the provincial policy statement, conform to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and meets the 4 tests as established by Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. The proposal is considered to be minor in nature, appropriate and desirable for the development of the subject lands. The request is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Staff is recommending approval of the minor variance application subject to the attached conditions. I would like to note there is a typographical error. The public notices were sent out on August 27, not September 27. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shannon. Is the applicant or their agent present?
Yes, I'm here.
Austin Koenig, could you please provide any further information to the staff presentation, or if you have any further comments, can you present now, please?
Yeah, I guess I wanted the accessory building a little bit bigger for storage purposes. I also heat my house with wood, so splitting wood in the shop there, as well as my tractor and quad and boat hopefully one day. So.
Thank you. I will ask if I believe there are no public delegations to this matter. Is everyone still hearing me okay? Because
Yes.
are there any members who have any questions, comments, or require clarification? It appears there are none. So I will now turn it over to Member Smith for the recommendation.
Moved by myself and seconded by Member Hamilton that application A1521SL from Austin Koenig, owner of 124 Langford Church, former Township of Brantford, be approved as outlined in staff report CA 2151.
Thank you, Member Smith. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Vamus,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. We will now move on to item 2 on our agenda, and I will introduce item 6.2, staff report CA 2170 for application A2421AW from Jonathan Lowe, owner of lands known as Part 2, 2R6026, Part Block 111, Plan 1760, 25B Griffiths Drive, former town of Paris. And I will turn the time now over to Amanda Wisniewski for her presentation.
Thank you, through the chair. An application for relief to the zoning bylaw has been received from John Lowe in regards to maximum lot coverage. The subject lands are rectangular in shape and are located on the north side of Griffiths Drive, west of the Whitlock Way and Oak Avenue intersection. Excuse me. The applicant is seeking a variance for increased maximum lot coverage to facilitate a shed. The applicant is seeking a maximum lot coverage of approximately 54%, whereas the maximum of 45% is permitted. I do note the notice is an additional variance for interior, but since the structure is less than 10 square meters, a setback of 0.6 meters is permitted, and the applicant is proposing 0.8. And then in regards to the official plan, the subject lands are designated as urban residential, which contemplates for residential uses and their associated accessory structures. And then in regards to the zoning bylaw, the subject lands are zoned as residential, multiple low density, RM1. The applicant is seeking relief from section 8.2.2 for increased lot coverage. Based on my discussions, it appears the subject lands were approved in 2004 with an increased lot coverage of 52%. Without the introduction of the shed, the subject lands would be viewed as legal non-conforming. However, with the introduction of the shed, the increased lot coverage needs to be addressed. In regards to my recommendation, I am recommending approval of the application, and then through public circulation, one comment was received opposing the application and a second was received seeking clarification. It is my opinion that proposed variances meet the 4 test of the Planning Act, and I'm happy to answer any questions the committee members may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, for your report. I will ask if the applicant or their agent is present.
Yes, I am.
Your name is Jonathan Lowe.
Yes, it is.
I'll ask that you give your presentation now if you have anything to add to the staff report.
No, everything I put in that application is all I need to say about it.
Thank you. Then I believe with this application, there is a public delegation who wishes to present. I'll ask, is that person, their name is Carrie Generu. Can they provide their presentation now? Are they online?
Yes, I can. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. I will turn the matter over to you now for your presentation. Thank
you. Okay, good evening, Council. So quite some time ago, it was observed that one of the neighbors diagonally from me had been starting to build a very large structure. I'm going to be showing some pictures around what those backyards look like behind our homes. The neighbor beside me that backs directly onto 25B Griffiths Drive had made several complaints about the structure because the deck goes right up to, pretty much right up to their fence. And it's quite a large structure compared to the yards that they're allotted. My worry, and same with some of the other neighbors in the area, is that once you approve this, then that leaves it open for all 4 of those condos to build a structure the same. The yards are not very big, and I feel privacy is an issue. It's a fire hazard. The structure is already built. It has electrical to it. It is not a shed. They are in there smoking marijuana, doing whatever. It does appear to be an extended living space. So I'm not sure where shed came into it or how it was approved to be built to begin with. I will give you an idea around what that looks like. Let's see if I can. I apologize, I've never shared my screen before. Can you see my screen? No?
I can't.
Okay, how am I going to do this? I was trying to send this.
Carrie, I can help you if you'd like.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
If you go to the bottom of your screen, there should be an option to share your screen. If you take your
Well, I
mouse,
just kind of lost it. It's only showing. Oh, there we go. Okay, share screen.
yeah, click that option and then another screen will show up and then you can choose which screen you want to share.
Okay, so my desktop. It's asking me to open system preferences.
Don't know about that. I don't know how to help there.
I don't know.
Possible for you, Carrie, to email the picture to a staff member, either Amanda or someone that you have an email address for, and we could share it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now I tried to send the PowerPoint earlier and it wouldn't let me.
Through the chair, I do have a picture of the structure in question that was submitted with the application. I can share my screen and see if that's sufficient.
I would suggest if staff has any pictures or further documents on the application if they move into. Okay, so here I can see a shed right here.
Carrie, is this picture sufficient?
Can you see the picture, Carrie?
I've got to open it.
Amanda has put a picture of the shed up on the her screen and it's showing to all the members right now. I see a shed with its light colored siding. You can't see that?
No, I just oh, here we are. Yep. I can give you what it looks like from our. So yeah, there's two windows. There is electrical that goes to it. It's completely done. Here, I'm going to actually send the.
I'll ask, is your picture any different than this one that Amanda has provided us with?
There's a vent on the other side.
So you do have a picture that's a different perspective, like a different view. Is that what you're trying to send?
Right. And I wanted to show you what so there's, it's a set of 4 condos and 2 of those condos go, my yard backs onto them too. So basically, I wanted to show you the perspective from our properties on what these structures look like. Okay. And if there were 4 of them on those properties, on what that would look like.
And did you email? Pardon? Sorry, you go ahead, Amanda.
Did you want me to pull up an aerial image, Carrie? That way they can.
Is it a current aerial permission?
It's from January 2020.
Okay. I don't know if that's going to show it. They've been working on it for about 8
Amanda?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
I'm sending the pictures right now. So.
And who are you sending them to?
Alyssa?
If Alyssa could let us know when she receives them, and perhaps she can do screen sharing.
As soon as I get them, I'll share my screen.
Okay, thank you.
Carrie, does that aerial image work for you?
Can you see the aerial view that Ann provided to the meeting? Carrie?
Yes, I can see the aerial view.
Okay. Can you make some comments as to the perspective that you were raising?
Yep, so I am the second house from the corner on the other side
Yes.
of the set address. So my backyard backs onto two of those properties.
Right.
And the person that originally made the complaints about the structure, that they were told that nothing could be done about it, and that is why they're kind of tired and didn't really want to participate in this, is so they have their backyard, actually their house line actually goes a little bit further into their yard. So it's actually right there. So our worry is that structure catches fire, it's going around along our fence line.
Okay. So you're saying that the shed is right abutting the fence line that your property is closest to?
Yes, and
It's not
sorry,
a shed.
can you clarify the definition of a shed?
I'll ask staff to respond to that.
Yeah, so through the chair, so in the submitted materials, the applicant have referred to it as a shed, but if it was being used for a shed or if it was being used as extended living space, it is a detached structure from the house. So we would view it as an accessory structure either way.
So we can just build, so if you're changing the percentage, we can all just build like a living quarter in our yard like that? To that scale?
MJ, through the chair, did you want me to answer that question?
Yes, I do. Sorry.
Okay.
I was looking at the
So
picture.
thank you through the chair. So as long as it's meeting the zoning bylaw and the building code, in theory, the properties would be able to build detached accessory structures as well.
Wow. Okay, so can you see the scale that this alleged shed? So imagine that on 4 of those properties.
Can you see the new picture?
Yes, I can see all the pictures. Are there more?
There's 2 more.
Okay. So if the committee can view all the pictures that were emailed in, and then we can return if there's any further presentation by Carrie Denaru.
Carrie, is that the 3 pictures or was there more?
There was more. It was just more of an image of, that's what I sent. I don't know if you want me to send you the pictures of what the row houses look for my house.
I'll ask the committee, would you find further pictures of this application for the shed with the other units useful in your decision? It appears there are no further requirements by the committee to see more pictures. I'll ask, are there any further points you do wish to raise?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now ask the committee if there are any members who have questions or would like to comment on this report by stating their name.
Member Hamilton, I have a question to the applicant.
Yes, go ahead.
I wish the applicant, if he could explain the reason or the use of this shed that we just seen pictures of, and what it is utilized for at his place.
I'll request the applicant, Jonathan Lowe, is it, to
Yes.
respond to this, please?
Okay, it's being used to store some of my tools, some lawn furniture, ladders, stuff like that. We also use it to smoke in, to stay out of the elements of the weather. As for the hydro, there is no hydro ran to it. It's actually a 14-2 wire with a head on it to plug into the outlet outside.
That satisfy or provide you with the answer you were seeking, Mr. Hamilton?
I do have a question, also a secondary question. I see there's less than 4 feet from the house to the door, and for the door open. How big are the ladders you're trying to store in there?
One is about 5 feet. And then there's a longer one I haven't put in there yet, but it's about 7 feet tall.
Okay, and you said you don't have hydro, but you do have a plug running out. Do you have a fan in that room?
Yes, there's an exhaust fan.
Okay, thank you.
And I will ask the applicant, since the delegation has raised a concern. So basically there is, the shed is not being used as living quarters.
No, nobody lives in there.
Okay, thank you. I'll now ask, are there any other members of the committee who wish to comment or question this application?
Member Emmett here.
Yes, go ahead.
Is this structure built on top of the deck that is there or on the ground? It seems quite high in the air.
It's built on a second tier of my patio. It's only, I forget how tall it is now. I think it's about 8 feet tall.
And it sticks up quite a ways above the fence. That's all I was wondering.
Yeah, the fence is the second tier is about 10 inches high off the ground, maybe about a foot off the ground. And then it sits on top of that.
Okay.
It's below my roof.
So just following that, you're referring to the patio is what was in the staff report that is not being considered as part of the lot coverage.
Correct. I was told as long as it's under, I believe it was 2 feet, that it was classified as patio, and the bill inspector has already looked at it.
Any more questions? So I will turn the matter over to Member Emmett for the resolution.
It's moved by myself and seconded by Member Vamus that application A24-21-AW from Jonathan Lowe, owners of 25B Griffiths Drive, be approved as outlined in staff report CA 2170.
Thank you, Member Emmett. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Vamus,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We will now move to item 6.3 on our agenda, staff report CA 2167 for application A20-21-SL from Civic Planning Inc., agent on behalf of Jesse Vicano, owner of lands known as Concession 5, Part Lot 3, 1266 and 1264 Colburn Street West, former Township of Brantford, and I will turn the application over to Shannon LaBelle for her presentation.
Thank you. Through the chair. This is a minor variance for lands located at 1264 Colburn Street West within the former town of Brantford. The minor variance is for relief and minimum lot area for the proposed lot of 2,842.13 square meters and retained lot of 3,303.46 square meters, whereas a minimum lot area of 4,000 square meters is required, and for relief of minimum lot frontage for the proposed lot of 37.4 meters, whereas a minimum frontage of 40 meters is required, as a condition of approved severance application B2121SL. The subject lands are located on the south side of Colburn Street West, east of Cleaver Road and west of Mill Street. To the north of the subject property, there is open green space, and the lands are zoned commercial with a commercial building located to the northeast. A single detached dwelling is located northwest of the subject property. To the west, there is low density residential, and to the south and east of the subject property, there are agricultural lands. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The subject lands are designated as rural residential within the County of Brant official plan. The minor variance is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan for the following reasons. The rural residential designation contemplates for development if they have access to adequate services for the use proposed, and if the development is compatible with the surrounding land uses. The subject lands will be privately serviced. The subject lands are zoned as rural residential within the County of Brant zoning bylaw. The applicant is seeking relief from Section 9, Table 9.2.1 in order to recognize deficiencies that were created as a result of the approved severance application B2121SL. The proposal is considered to be in keeping with the intent of the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116. No public comments were received for this application. Staff are supportive of the minor variance application as it is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and meets the 4 tests as established by Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. The minor variance is considered to be minor in nature, appropriate and desirable for the development of the subject lands, and the request is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Staff are recommending approval of the minor variance application subject to the attached conditions. I would like to note that the public notices were sent out on August 27th and not September 27th. This will be a typographical error that appeared in all of my reports. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shannon, for your report. Everyone can hear me okay? Okay, thank you. I'll ask if the applicant or their agent is present.
Yes, Dave Rowe. I'm the agent for the applicant. Is completing a severance that's been previously approved, and it results in an infill lot within the designated residential area. Not really too much more to add than that.
Okay, thank you. I believe there are no public delegations for this application. I'll ask the committee members if you have any questions or comments on this application. Can you ask them now?
Member Emmett?
Thank you.
Just a question to staff. Are rural residential now, are the required or minimum lot area is 4,000 square meters usually, correct?
That is correct.
And now we're saying a minor variance down to 2850 roughly. That's considered minor, about 30%.
Based off of past applications that were similar, they also were put through as a minor variance application, sorry, through the chair. And so I base it off of that in order for consistency.
Okay, thank you.
You have no further questions, Member Emmett, on that?
Well, I just wonder how come we can go 30% less than what is in the plan and we're supposed to be okay with it. That's all. We might as well change the rules back at the beginning, then we wouldn't have to have all these minor variances. That's only my thought.
Yeah, point taken. I'll ask, are there any other members who have questions or comments on this?
Member Smith here, through the chair, if I can just clarify to staff. So this has already been approved through a previous severance that was through the committee?
That's correct.
Okay, so I remember through the chair again, was there a condition that they had to go through a minor variance application, or was this just picked up after the fact?
Through the chair, this was a condition of the severance application.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But going forward, I know we were advised that generally the severance and a minor variance application should be put together to avoid what's happening today.
Thank you.
So I will send for the recommend.
Did you turn that over to me, MJ? Or have we lost her?
No, sorry, I turned it over to you. Can you
Thank
hear
you.
me
Okay.
now? Okay.
Moved by myself and seconded by Member Smith that A20-21-SL from Civic Planning Inc. Agent on behalf of Jesse Valcano, owner of 1266 and 1264 Coburn Street West, former Township of Brantford, be approved as outlined in the staff report CA-21-67.
Thank you, Member Hamilton. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Vamus,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Brown, yes. It appears the motion has carried. The application has been approved. Thank you. And we will now move to item 6.4 on our agenda. Staff report CA. I'm hoping everyone is hearing me through this. 2168 application SV3 21 SL from Brooks Signs agent on behalf of Vicano Construction Limited, owner for Bar Burrito, tenant of lands known as Brantford Concession 1, Part Lot 10, RP 2R6514, Part 1 within the former town of Paris, known as 1070 Rest Acres Road, County of Brant, and I will turn the application over to Shannon LaBelle for her presentation.
Thank you. Through the chair. This is a sign variance for lands located at 1070 Rest Acres Road, Building A-3, within the former town of Paris. The sign variance is for relief of the number of signs permitted, specifically fascia signs within a commercial zone. A total of 3 fascia signs are being requested, whereas the sign bylaw 12108 permits a maximum of 2 fascia signs on the premises within a commercial zone. The subject lands are located on the north side of future Arlington Parkway, along the west side of Rest Acres Road. These lands are directly surrounded by commercial and residential uses to the north, residential uses to the east, south, and west of the property. The proposal does not have any impacts on conformity and or consistency with regards to current provincial policies and documents in place, as it strictly pertains to signage on the site. The subject lands are designated as shopping center commercial within the County of Brant official plan. The proposed sign variants is consistent with the overall commercial development at 1070 Rest Acres Road, thereby in conformity with the County of Brant official plan. These subject lands are zoned as special exception general commercial C3-1 within the County of Brant zoning bylaw. The C3 zone permits a range of commercial uses. Under the C3 zone, a restaurant is a permitted use. The proposed sign variance for the fascia sign is in conformity with the multi-tenant commercial development approved on these lands. The applicant is requesting relief from section G1, number permitted, of the County of Brant sign bylaw in order to permit a total of 3 fascia signs, whereas only 2 are permitted within a commercial zone. The proposal is considered to be in keeping with the County of Brant sign bylaw 12108, as all other provisions are being met. No public comments were received for this application. Staff are supportive of the sign variance application as it is in keeping with the overall intent of the sign bylaw. The request is minor in nature, appropriate and desirable for the development of the subject lands, and the request is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Staff is recommending approval of the sign variance application subject to the attached conditions. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shannon, for your presentation and report. I'll ask now if the applicant or their agent are present. I believe they are not present. The staff, any staff aware if they are present tonight?
For the chair, they are not present tonight.
Okay, thank you. I'll now ask if there are any members who require clarification, have a question or comment on this matter.
Member Smith here, if I can ask a question to staff.
Yes, go ahead.
Through the chair to staff, just a question, because we seem to be getting a lot of these sign variances and they all seem to be for basically the same property here along Rest Acres Road. Has there been any consideration for potentially the applicant submitting his own change for this property so they can have one fascia sign per building? Or is this something that the county is looking into maybe changing for larger properties like this?
Through the chair, I can answer that question. So it's my understanding that our sign bylaw is in the process of being updated. So it would not make these applications necessary. And I believe the intent is to bring that application forward for approval before the end of this year. So in that case, then the committee would be seeing much less of these types of applications. So that is probably the reasoning why you haven't seen a zoning application come forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kayla and Rebecca. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? It appears there are none, so I will now turn the application over to Member Zuloff for the recommendation.
Moved by myself and seconded by Member Schmidt. At application SV321SL from Brooks Signs, agent on behalf of Bacano Construction Limited, owners for Barbarito tenant of 1070 Rest Acres Road be approved as outlined in staff report CA 2168.
Thank you, Member Zuloff. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zuloff?
Yes.
Vamus?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. We will now move to item 6.5 on our agenda, Staff report CA-21-65 for application B4-21-DN from Robert Lefebvre, agent on behalf of Lucas Bonfini, applicant for John Lundy, Carolyn Lundy, and Peter Lundy, owners of lands legally known as Concession 2, Part Lot 55, 68 Meisner Road, former Township of Brantford, and I will turn the application over to Dan Nemisniak for his presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. Application B421DN is a consent application requesting a minor boundary adjustment to transfer a parcel of excess land from the agricultural parcel located at 68 Meisner Road, which is identified in green on your screen, and the parcel itself is identified in red. So this parcel in red, which is part of 68 Meisner Road, is proposed to be severed and added to the rural residential parcel located at 272 Jerseyville Road, which is identified as the benefiting parcel in that yellow-orange color. So the lot areas as they exist today. So as I mentioned, the subject lands, both parcels are identified in the blue boundary. The green and the red boundary is the current boundary or limits of 68 Meisner Road. So currently having a frontage of 90 meters along Meisner Road and a total area of 15 hectares or 38 acres. The lands to be severed and added that are part of 68 Meisner Road also have a bit of frontage, about 20 meters along Jerseyville Road. The benefiting parcel currently has approximately 122 meters along Jerseyville Road and a frontage and a total area of 1.6 hectares or approximately 4 acres. So the zoning on the subject lands, or sorry, the official plan designation on the subject lands, you can see that a large portion of the 68 Meisner Road is designated agricultural, with a green blob there identifying a natural heritage feature, or in this case, it is a wetland feature. The piece to be severed and added is actually designated rural residential. It's in the brown area, as well as the benefiting parcel is located within the brown area. And there is a small wetland feature that does span across 272. This piece of land to be severed and added as part of 68 Meisner Road, as well as 280 Jerseyville Road. The zoning on the subject lands, the 68 Meisner Road, the larger portion is zoned agricultural. The piece to be severed and added is actually zoned appropriately in the rural residential site-specific 34, and the benefiting parcel has the same zoning, rural residential, or RR 34. The end result, so the parcel itself is to be severed and added is, as I mentioned, it's 0.23 hectares. So this will reduce the large farm parcel to 14.7 and increase the residential parcel within the rural residential designation to 1.83 hectares. The minor boundary adjustment itself is being requested due to the fact that the current owner considers this land to be surplus and is considered to be more compatible land use with the abutting benefiting parcel. This piece of land is not utilized for agricultural or to gain access to the subject lands. No new development, buildings or structures or parcels of land are being created as a result of this application, and the uses of each parcel will remain unchanged. I should note, and as you found in your addendum, there were some public comments received from the abutting property to the east, 280 Jerseyville Road, who did have some concerns that this application was either creating an additional lot or that this would encourage or enable the applicants to create an additional lot in the future. And I had confirmed with the resident, I can confirm with the committee members that I have not had any discussion with the owner or applicants regarding the creation of a new parcel for development on this parcel. So if and when that application does come forward, the request will be reviewed against the zoning bylaw. We'll review the environmental and technical requirements and considerations at that time. And I've confirmed with the resident that further notice of any new applications will be provided at the appropriate time, if and when any further applications come forward. Some conditions to be noted that have been included. Condition number 3 and 4 are related to road widening. So the Jerseyville Road is in the County of Brant jurisdiction. Meisner Road is in the City of Hamilton jurisdiction. We have a condition that allows for the need or the limits for road widening along both Jerseyville Road and Meisner Road to be determined in greater detail as required. Again, City of Hamilton comments are still outstanding, so this will allow the City of Hamilton a little bit more time as a placeholder if that road widening is required. And I included that condition along Meisner Road because it does appear that historically road widening has been taken along other stretches of Meisner Road. Condition number 5 requires that a subsequent application be submitted and approved in recognition of the new reduced farm parcel area. So that parcel is already undersized in relation to what the zoning bylaw requires. So it is legal non-conforming. This application will change that area. So we need a subsequent application to identify whether it be a minor rezoning or a minor variance application. We can discuss that with the applicant at the appropriate time. And I will note that I have added a condition at the request of the committee that will validate or ensure that the consolidation of the parcels will take place as intended with this application. So having reviewed the proposed consent application and the applicable planning policy, comments received as part of technical and public circulation, is my professional opinion that this consent application is minor and technical in nature and therefore recommends that this application be approved. Happy to answer any questions, and I know the agent for the applicant is here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for your presentation and report. If the applicant or their agent, who I believe is present, Mr. Lefebvre, could provide your presentation or further comments now.
Thank you very much. I've just done one question, if I could ask through the chair to Dan. I notice in condition number 5, there's a reference to 583 Baptist Church Road as the undersized parcel. And we think that's actually supposed to be 68 Meisner Road. If you could confirm, that would clarify that for me.
Yep, through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Lefebvre, that is correct. I have already made that correction in our draft decision.
Very good. Okay, so as indicated in our application, no building or development is planned for this. It's just a matter of squaring up the lot. The little bit of wetlands at the beginning of the what looks like should be used as a driveway makes it impossible to use it as a driveway. It's heavily wooded. It's a beautiful piece of land. We appreciate the neighbors' desire that it stay beautiful. There's not really enough land here in the present zoning to put 2 lots in any way. And these owners certainly have no plans to try at any time to change the lot. I guess we don't know what 50 years from now will tell us, but these owners are just finalizing the appearance of their lot. So we're content with the conditions as proposed and appreciate we'll have to do that undersized farm application with Mr. Lundy's farm. But we're ready to answer any other questions or any committee members might have.
Thank you, Mr. Lefebvre. I'll now ask, and I don't believe there are any public delegations to present, so I'll ask the members if they have any questions or comments on this application.
It's Member Zuloff. Through the through the committee to staff. I'm just wondering, in our interdepartmental considerations, part of our materials, it mentions at the time of writing this report, comments from the city of Hamilton are outstanding. I just wondering if you could speak to that, if those been satisfied, or what that's about exactly.
Yep, through you, Madam Chair, to Member Zuloff, the application, because the lands do abut the city of Hamilton, the application or the request for comments was circulated to the city of Hamilton, and I have yet to receive any comments. So the inclusion at the time of writing the report, no comments had been received. So it's really there as a reminder. And again, with the condition and the wording of the condition allows the city of Hamilton a little bit extra time and the opportunity to request that road widening if required.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dan and Member Zuloff. Are there any further comments or questions from the committee?
Member Hamilton here, through the chair to staff and Dan. Just looking, I think you maybe clarified it, but the copy I've got here on page 6 of the application, 0.23, and that, so it's just a matter of maybe clarifying and putting that back if I'm correct, I guess. And it should.
I'm not sure of your question, Member Hamilton. On page 6, you said you cut out a bit.
Oh, sorry. On page 6, there's halfway down the page, the minimum lot area. It looked like approximately 1.6 hectares were being transferred when it's only actually 0.23.
Yes, through Madam Chair, that is correct. That has been pointed out as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Are there any further comments or questions from the committee? It appears there are none, so I will now turn it over to Member Variance for the recommendation.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Member Emmett, the application B4-21-DN from Robert Lefebvre, agent on behalf of Lucas Bonfini, applicant for John Lundy, Carolyn Lundy, and Peter Lundy, owners of 68 Meisner Road, former Township of Brantford, be approved as outlined in staff report CA-21-65.
Thank you, Variance. I'll ask all committee members to indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Zuloff.
Yes.
Variance.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. Thank you, staff and applicant. I'll now introduce item 6.6 on our agenda, staff report CA-21-57 for application B4021AW from Robert Stewart, owner of lands described as concession 3, part lots 1 and 2, RP 2R3968, parts 2 to 6 in the former township of South Dumfries, known as 43 Highway 5, County of Brant. And I will turn the application over to Amanda Wisniewski for her presentation.
Thank you, through the chair. An application for a surplus dwelling has been received from Robert Stewart. The subject lands are irregular in shape and are located on the north side of highway number 5 and have an area of approximately 52.5 hectares. Sorry, excuse me. The applicant is seeking to sever a surplus dwelling with an area of approximately 0.78 hectares, and the retained is expected to have an area of approximately 51.8. The proposed surplus dwelling is irregular in shape as a result of natural heritage features on the property and also characteristics of the subject lands. Prior to submitting an application, site visits were had with myself and the county environmental planner, and then also the GRCA provided commentary on the proposed parcel fabric ahead of the submission of an application. And then in regards to the official plan, the subject lands are designated as agricultural and natural heritage. And then within the official plan, surplus dwelling severances are contemplated for, and this severance would not result in any new additional residential building lots. And then in regards to the zoning bylaw, the subject lands are zoned as agricultural, natural heritage, and temporary use 72. Based on the materials submitted, it appears the severed and the retained are meeting the development standards. And it is also my understanding the subject lands are legally merged with 7 highway number 5. And as a result, the retained lands do not require a rezoning to prohibit a dwelling. And then conditions of approval speak to this understanding and will require a rezoning should this understanding be incorrect. And then in regards to my recommendation, I'm recommending approval subject to the conditions included in my report. Through public circulation, I received 1 phone call seeking clarification on the application. No formal comments were submitted, and I'm happy to answer any questions the committee members may have. Thank you. Oh, looks like I was doing the wrong presentation the entire time. Okay. Through the chair, MJ, did you want me to do the other presentation? I had the wrong slide up.
Amanda, I think it was just the very last slide. I did see the appropriate slides for the presentation.
Perfect. I just noticed that at the very end.
Yeah. Okay, because I was getting confused there as to.
Everything's good then, just the wrong slide at the very end.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is the applicant or their agent present?
Yes, Madam Chair, Bob Stewart here, owner of the lands.
Okay, I'll ask that if you have any further information to add to the staff presentation, please go ahead.
No further information. Just want to thank Amanda for the presentation, and again for her and staff for the site visits and the emails and calls through the process. There was some history on the file, but I think we worked through it and comfortable with the report itself as well as the draft conditions as presented. I think it'll allow us to work through anything outstanding. So here for questions though, if there are any from committee.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. I'll now ask if there are any members who have questions or comments on this application. It appears there are none. I'm assuming everyone can hear me. So we will move on to the matter where I can turn the application over to Member Smith for the recommendation.
Thanks, MJ. Moved by myself and seconded by Member Hamilton that application B40-21-AW from Robert Stewart, owner of 43 Highway number 5, County of Brant, be approved as outlined in staff report CA 2157.
Thank you, Member Smith. I'll now ask the committee members to indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zuloff?
Yes.
Vamus?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved.
Thank you.
I will now introduce item 6.7 on our agenda, staff report CA-21-58 for application B41-21-SL from Elder Plans Incorporated, agent on behalf of Ross Nill and Colin Nill, owners of lands known as Part Lot 2, Concession 1, 49 Highway number 2, former Township of Brantford, and turn the application over to Shannon LaBelle for her presentation.
Thank you. Through the chair, this is a severance for lands located at 49 Highway number 2 in the former township of Brantford. This is to sever a dwelling deemed surplus with a frontage of approximately 42.10 meters in an area of 0.64 acres. The retained lands have an area of approximately 57.39 hectares. The subject lands are located on the south side of Highway 2, having frontage along the south side of Highway number 2. The subject property is surrounded by agricultural land and related uses in all directions. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The subject lands are designated agriculture and natural heritage in the County of Brant official plan. I note that the lands to be severed are designated as agriculture. The proposed severance is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan for the following reasons. Through the severance, no new residential building lots are being created. The retained lands are expected to be farmed as part of a larger farming operation located at 41 Highway number 2. The severed and retained parcels have frontage along Highway number 2. The severed parcel is large enough to accommodate private servicing. These subject lands are zoned as special exception agriculture, A-1, and natural heritage within the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116. The application complies with the County of Brant zoning bylaw as the severed and retained lots satisfy all development provisions and criteria. No public comments were received for this application. The applicant will not be required to apply for a minor rezoning to prohibit a residential use on the retained lands, as there are already 2 existing dwellings on the retained lands preventing another from being built. Staff are supportive of the consent application as it is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan, and complies with the County of Brant zoning bylaw, and therefore staff recommend approval of the application subject to the attached conditions. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shannon, for your presentation and report. Is the applicant or their agent present?
Yes, I, Mary Elder, am present. I believe Ross Nill is too.
Do you have a presentation which would add further information to the staff presentation?
No, I felt what was in the staff presentation covered everything quite well, and there weren't any issues that we had with what was presented.
Thank you. Then I'll ask the committee members. I don't believe there are public delegations that wish to speak to this application, so I will now ask any committee members if there are any questions or comments for this application.
MJ, just a member Smith here. I think we might have skipped a delegate, unless I'm going a little bit crazy here, but I think we're on the nil application. I think Mary Elder just spoke and she's the next application.
Are they both for Highway 2? Mary Elder is for item 8.
So I see Mary Lou's on the next application, but she's not on the one that we're speaking about now.
I'm looking at my staff, my copies.
Oh, you know what? Yes.
Mary Elder.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. She's the applicant. Sorry about that.
Okay. No, it's been a confusing evening.
Many of the same names. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'll just ask, are there any further committee members who have questions or comments on this? It appears there are none, and I will now turn the matter over to Member Schmidt for the recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. It is moved by myself and seconded by Member Zuloff that the application B41-21-SL from Elder Plans, Inc., agent on behalf of Ross Nill and Colin Nill, owners of 49 Highway number 2, former Township of Brantford, be approved as outlined in staff report CA-21-58.
Thank you, Member Schmidt, for the motion. Members, please indicate if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton. Is Member Hamilton still present?
Yes.
Thank you. Member Zula.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Member Vamus.
Yes.
Member Smith.
Yes.
Member Schmidt.
Yes.
And Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. Thank you, Shannon, and thank you for the presentation. And we will now move on to item 6.8 on our agenda. Staff report CA 21-59 for application B42-21-SL from Mary Elder. I believe I had a break in my connection there for a minute. So the application is from Mary Elder, agent on behalf of Ross Nell, Mary Lou Nell, and Colin Nell, owners of lands known as Part Lot 3, Concession 1, 55 Highway number 2, former Township of Brantford. And I will ask Shannon LaBelle to give her presentation now, and I hope everyone.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, this is a severance for lands located at 55 Highway number 2 in the former Township of Brantford. This is to sever a dwelling deemed surplus with a frontage of approximately 97.11 meters in an area of 1.28 acres. The retained lands have an area of approximately 39.14 hectares. The subject lands are located on the south side of Highway number 2, having frontage along the south side of Highway number 2. The subject property is surrounded by agricultural lands and related uses in all directions. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The subject lands are designated agriculture and natural heritage in the County of Brant official plan. I note once again that the lands to be severed are designated as agriculture. The proposed severance is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan for the following reasons. Through the severance, no new residential building lots are being created. The retained lands are expected to be farmed as part of a larger farming operation located at 41 Highway number 2. The severed and retained parcels have frontage along Highway number 2. The severed parcel is large enough to accommodate private servicing. The subject lands are zoned as agriculture and natural heritage within the County of Brant zoning bylaw 6116. The application complies with the County of Brant zoning bylaw as the severed and retained lots satisfy most of the development provisions and criteria. The retained lot was originally undersized, and this will be recognized as part of the rezoning of the retained lands. No public comments were received for this application. To facilitate the severance, the applicants will be required to apply for a minor rezoning to prohibit a residential use on the retained parcel, as well as recognize the undersized farm parcel within an agricultural zone. This has been included as a condition of approval. Staff are supportive of the consent application as it is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, is in conformity with the County of Brant official plan, and complies with the County of Brant zoning bylaw, and therefore I'd recommend approval of the application subject to the attached conditions. Thank you and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shannon, for your report and presentation. I believe the applicant is present. If they have any further information to add to this, if they could speak now. I believe it's Mary Elder who was the applicant on the previous application?
As agent, I would say that everything is acceptable that's been put forward in the report and the conditions on behalf of the Nell family. Any questions, just ask, please.
Thank you, Ms. Elder. With that, and I believe there are no public delegations to speak to this application, so I will now move on to asking the committee members if they have any questions or comments for this application. It appears there are no comments or questions from the committee members, so I will now, pardon, yes, is there?
Great. I just have one question here. It just came to my attention. I just remembered here. There is a substantial livestock barn on the abutting piece to the east that the application prior to. I just, through the chair to staff, I just want to confirm that we're meeting MDS requirements for this new lot that's being severed. It looks like there's quite a substantial setback, but I just want to confirm.
If staff could respond to Member Smith's question.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Member Smith. I can verify that the MDS guidelines are being met. I don't remember off the top of my head regarding the setbacks for that neighboring property.
Through the chair, we could just maybe ask if Mary Elder wanted to add anything further. We could also see if she has any information regarding the MDS.
Yes, I would. Can Ms. Elder comment on that?
Through the chair, I did do the MDS calculation, and I found, I believe the arc fell somewhere way short of, it was still in the original farm parcel, the retained for the last application. It didn't actually get into this parcel, if I remember correctly. It was certainly way short of the new lot.
Was there an MDS calculation submitted in the application?
Yes.
I don't believe I saw it as part of the package.
If I didn't, yeah, if I didn't submit it, I know I did the process to make sure that it was, and has stated that in the application that it met it.
Does that answer your question, Member Smith?
I'm hesitant to put a condition. I just want to be sure that the applicant and staff are confident that this lot will fall out of that arc. So if staff can assure me that they're confident, then I won't suggest that we do an if required condition. And if not, then if we can just include a condition just to make sure it's checked before this is final approved.
Through you, Madam. Oh, sorry, Kayla.
Kayla or Shannon to respond.
Sure. Through the chair, I think that just to be safe, we should add the condition, and then we can just ensure we have that paperwork on file. And if needed, we can make sure that the condition is waived appropriately.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that acceptable then, Member Smith?
Right.
Yes.
Are there any further comments or questions from the committee members? It appears there are, yes, is, okay. Yes, is you're Mr. Ross. Are you speaking to this application?
Could I just add something to that? I had a hard time getting in here.
Can I ask what is your relationship to this application?
I'm Ross Nill, one of the applicants.
Oh, sorry. I only saw
Owner?
Ross. I thought your last name was Ross.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. When that barn was built, it met all minimum distance separation at the time, and they should have that file on within the county.
Just through the chair to staff, just if we could still include it, because I know it's a little bit different when you're severing rural residential lot. It's a larger setback than when you're actually constructing the barn. So Just again, just to be
No,
sure.
it's, we can, but it met all, at the time, all minimum distance separation from any rural residential housing. In fact, Falkland had a lot more to do with it because it's a hamlet. And
A
we had to
settlement,
be
yep.
set back, and we had to be set back even farther for that. But it's set back
Yeah.
more than enough, and it's all like, you do have it all on file.
I
Through
would
the
only
chair.
suggest, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, through the chair, I would just add that yes, the creation of a new lot does trigger a new review. So we will keep that condition and just make sure that the MDS is met for the creation of the new rural residential lot.
And I would agree with that.
Just make sure it's the same.
Yes, because it says if required in the condition. So then with this application, are there any further comments or questions from committee members? It appears there are none. So I will now turn the application over to Member Hamilton for the recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. Moved by myself, second by Member Emmett, the application B 42-21-SL from Mary Elder, agent on behalf of Ross Neal, Mary Lou Neal, and Colin Neal, owners of 55 Highway number 2, former Township of Brantford, be approved as outlined in the staff report CA 2159 with the amended conditions.
Thank you, Member Hamilton. I will now, for your motion, I will now ask the committee members if you are in favor of the motion, starting with Member Emmett.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Zuloff,
Yes.
Vamus,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
and Brown, yes. The motion has carried. The application has been approved. I will now move to item 8 on the agenda, which our next meeting date is expected to be October 21st, 2021. And I will then move on to item 9, where I'm requesting a motion to adjourn the meeting, and I will turn it over to Member Vamus.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, be seconded by Member Emmett.
Thank you, Member Vamus, and thank you for all participants who gave presentations and reports. I will now